Welcome to another episode of Not Your Average Lives. This is an Activating Abundance episode, which I normally publish on Friday, but this is going to be a day late because I've had a crazy week. So I have had a very crazy week. I am not in my normal surroundings. I am actually, and if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see that I'm not in my home studio. I'm in my youngest daughter's basement. I'm in her, it's actually a very nice bedroom suite she's created. And it's a great place to come and stay, but I have never been here this long. And, it wasn't intended, but we lost power last Monday. So this is now Saturday. So this is day 6 that we were going to be without power. Fortunately, late last night, we found out from our neighbors that the power was back on, but we had a really bad snowstorm in Virginia, and it was kind of snowstorm. We don't get a lot of snow in Virginia, but when we do, it's beautiful, and it usually doesn't last very long. This snow, it was probably about 8 to 9 inches, which is a lot of snow at once for us in Virginia. And it was very wet, heavy snow. So it took down so many trees. As my husband said, when he went up to look, we live in a cul-de-sac and in a golf course community. And he came down from the cul-de-sac and he said, it looks like devastation. Now we have been very grateful thinking about, we still have our house. It's not like the people that got hit with tornadoes in Kentucky or the people that have been hit by wildfires in Colorado and, past California fires that have hit. So we feel very fortunate. We have a house and we just lost our power, and it's, a first world problem to go without power for a few days. But yeah, you forget how much you rely on all that stuff. And it makes you think about, gosh, what if we lost power for a lot longer? What would we do? What would we be in the right situation? Would we be prepared to handle something like that? So we found out the power is back. We're excited to be able to go back home. We have our dog with us, and pets they're amazingly, adaptable, I guess you could say. And he's been a trooper to be with 2 little children. We have 2 little grandsons who are 3 and almost 1 year. And it has been a true test to see how good of a dog he is with little ones. But he's maintained his sanity, probably more so than my husband and I. But we're excited to be able to go back home. We live about 2 hours away from my daughter, and we have to go home and basically clean out our 3 refrigerators. We have 3 refrigerators. One's really small, but nothing like, starting completely from scratch. Sometimes you need to throw things away, but we'll be throwing everything away in our freezers and our refrigerator. So that has been what I've been doing for the past 6 days, trying to adapt to life outside the norm. And I just got over COVID. So fortunately it was the Omicron variant. So it was just like the regular flu. So it was no big deal. I know that's not true for some people who get it, but I feel very fortunate and it's behind me and I have a little immunity now. So I'm feeling strong. And that's the thing. Before I get started on my topic today, I did want to speak to reframing things when things don't go so well. And this is a perfect example. And I'm doing this vision board training and talking about like making this the best year of your life so far, 2022, and what can you do to make it your best year so far. And I could have said, man, 2022 has started out shitty. I got COVID. Well, actually I got COVID in 2021. So that's what I choose. I choose to leave that behind me in 2021 and not take it into 22. So by the time 2022 arrived, I was actually feeling fine. I came down with it like on the 29th. So yeah, by New Year's Eve, I was feeling a lot better. So some people may choose to think, oh my God, 2022 is going to be the worst year because I got COVID in the very, very beginning or at the very end of last year. And, that's what they choose to think is it's the entry into 2022. So it must be a bad omen or something. And my power went out for more time than it's ever been out in my entire life. So how can this be the best year? Instead of reframing it, which I choose to do, to say, number one, I had COVID and it was nothing really compared to what some people have to deal with COVID. And it was just like having the flu. And I haven't been sick for 2 years and 2 months. So, of course, being sick after 2 years and 2 months of not having one single little sniffle is going to suck. And so I choose to look at it as I have friggin' immunity. And isn't that going to make 2022 a lot less fearful? I'm not going to be walking around thinking, when am I going to get it? Because I got it and I'm over it. Now, granted, I might get it again, but what they say is that when you're subjected to it again, you do have these immunities that are going to make it less. You won't be as sick as you would have if you didn't have the immunity. All right. So that one reframe. Two reframe is I am going into 2022 with this quality family time. Like I have never spent this many days with my youngest daughter since she lived at home with me. And, plus I get the benefit of her amazing husband, who is a fantastic chef. So we've been eating very well. And my two grandsons, who are precious little human beings, and being able to like kind of step away from work, because I would just been working all week, and I did dabble a little work because, thank God I had internet here, and I need internet to do my job. But I got to spend a lot more quality time with them than I would have. I never stay this long with her, and my husband never stayed. I think he's mostly stayed one night. So a lot of times I just come up and visit and spend some time with them. And so it's been a very, when I look back on this time, it'll be, oh my gosh, we get to spend all that time together. And it was so nice. So, and they have been very well behaved. So, and because I had COVID, my youngest daughter, you might be wondering why, if you had COVID, maybe you were still positive and you went and stayed with her. Well, she had COVID first. And so, so it was like, and thank goodness, because when our power went out, if I hadn't had COVID, I would be like, still, what would I have done? We probably would have had to stay in a hotel. But since I had COVID, I was very limited. We couldn't, we didn't want to expose my husband's mother-in-law. We didn't want to expose my husband's brother, and they were without power too. So it was like, what are our choices? We have one choice, and that's to go up and visit my youngest daughter who has had COVID, as well as her kids. So everybody in her family had it. So now we had that option. And so I choose to reframe and think positive things about 2022 and why it's going to be the best year, because hey, I beat COVID and I have immunity, and that I got to spend this amazing quality time with my family. So that is my long intro. So, but sometimes I just like to say what's top of mind, and that was top of mind. I felt like I wanted to share that. So today I'm going to talk about what's very important in my mind to think about, as if you are wanting to make this year the best year of your life. And don't we all want to have every year be our best year? I would think that would be a goal for everybody. But the first and most important thing that you need to do, and this is only speaking from experience and what I've learned, and that's what I love to share, is when I learn something, to share it with my audience. And because I did it wrong for so long, I didn't know better. It's not that I did it wrong on purpose. We don't do things wrong on purpose. We don't live our, less than wonderful life because we want to. We just do it because that's all we know. And so and I put this in an email when I was doing last week's email. It was like the first email that I'd done of 2022. And I was thinking, what is it that is most important to tell people about what they can do this year to make it the best year of their life? And it's being authentic. being true to who you are at your core. And so I wanted to talk about this, and because I just wanted to put a little bit more meat around like what, people throw around that word authenticity. Well, what does it really mean? And when you're being authentic or not being authentic, what does that mean? And so I thought I'd Google it and look it up and speak from what resonated with me most, So these are the different ways of defining what I think is authenticity. So, number one, first of all, simple, is the quality of being real or true. So when you think of like authentic document, you think, oh, this is the original, right? So if you're looking at synonyms, some of the synonyms that I thought were really right on are originality, truth, and genuineness. You can tell when someone else is not being authentic. Most people have this gut feeling when somebody is being genuine or is being disingenuine, right? So that's your authentic reader meter. So, and then I like this more detailed definition. It's the degree to which a person's actions are congruent with his or her values and desires, despite external pressures to social conformity. That is right on. So I want to break a couple things down that were in that definition and elaborate on them because it was so good when I read it. So first of all, congruent, when you say congruent with his or her values and desires, when you hear in the word alignments tossed around, like I'm not feeling aligned, or you're in alignment, you're in alignment with your true self or your authentic self. What does that mean? Exactly. Congruent that's what alignment is, right? And so, and I love how it touches on values and desires. And what happens with so many of us is we lose sight of what our values are because we're trying to conform, right, to what we think society is expecting of us. And society can be so many different things. It can be labels, it can be people in your life that, are trying to influence you to do something. This happens a lot when we're younger, we're trying to choose like a major. Our parents might want us to do something different than what we feel congruent or in alignment with what we truly desire to do. So that is one thing. Values, it's so important to get in touch with what you value in life. And it's not based on what you think you should value. It's based on what you actually value. So you have to spend some time digging into what's important to you. All right. And then it touches on desires, right? In congruent, AKA alignment with your desires. So, and the reason why I want to really emphasize that is because this was my problem, is that I didn't have any friggin' desires. I didn't know what my desires were. I just completely ignored any desires. My desires were really to be a great mom and to be, just, when I say a good mom, I just was more important to me to grow amazing human beings. And so that was really all I desired. I didn't take it past that. So you can imagine when my kids left, holy crap, my desires went out the window. It's like, that's what I desired. Well, that came true because I grew amazing human beings. I mean, I think they had a lot to do with it, but I helped it a little bit, I think, which is why I loved it so much, I think, because I was successful at that. I was successful at being a mom. And now I watch my kids be amazing moms. And it's just so rewarding to me. And that's what I desired. But then, if you don't continue to always, understand and tap into that which you desire, you'll be tapped out at some point. You just will lose you just will lose that any fulfillment you have in life, any purpose you have in life. And so you need to continue to understand and tap into what you desire and refresh those desires, which is one reason I love to do visioning as part of what I do with my students. So you need to start out 2022, and I've touched on this already in my podcast on previous episodes, is like, make sure you have a vision. Make sure you have a vision based on your desires, because that is what will get you in alignment with your authentic self, is knowing what you value and knowing what you desire. So when it talks about in that definition, I'm going to continue to break it down. Yeah. So one more thought on the desires. If you don't have any desires, how can you even be congruent with them? Right. So yeah, that's the last thing I'm going to say about that. All right. And so the thing about external pressures to social conformity, one of the things that came to mind when I read that definition was, yeah, when you think external, you're always thinking about other people, society in general, external to you. But one thing that, again, came up when I was reading this definition was external can be your own ego. It's the human brain that is causing us to make choices that are incongruent with our values and desires. We're thinking logically, I need to do this in order to please other people. So it can be, it's external to your higher self is basically what that is. And then I'm going to get into what that higher self means. So one of the things that I recently, I heard this analogy or description, and it was, higher self versus ego. And I thought it was so I loved it as an analogy. And I was like, I am going to teach this going forward because it's such a good analogy. It really resonated with me. And if it resonated with me, I'm hoping it'll resonate with you. And so if you're looking at like how to get more in touch, and that's what you want to be more authentic, is you need to know, you need to be in touch with your higher self, and you need to detach more from your ego self. And it's not so much detach, but it's like be aware of what your ego self is doing, and always be checking in to make sure, is that congruent? Is that not congruent? And why is it, oftentimes it's a feeling you have, right? If it doesn't feel, it feels really good when you're in alignment with your higher self, and there's a disconnect feeling, and you'll know it in your gut if you're not congruent with your higher self. So it's basically the two differences. It's a big you and a little you. If you think about big you, little you, big you is this higher self you, and little you is the ego version, humanness of you. So think of that as almost like two versions of yourself, right? And you want to have the little you operate in a way in which you tap into that higher you. It's almost like you have this greater, teacher inside of you, this greater all-knowing, self of you. So there's big you and little you. Okay. So little you is who you think you are. So it's who you truly are or who you think you are. And who you truly are is big you, and who you think you are is little you. So if you're getting that, who you think you are is basically what you've shaped yourself into. This personality, this human life of yours is all shaped by your experiences of your past. It's become your identity, and you carry it with you wherever you go. So, and even if you change your identity into one that serves and shapes you for your dream life that you want, you still are accessing just a very, very, very minor part of that big you. And we are conscious only of the little you of us. And so the little you is such a limitation of what we're capable of truly. It's a big limitation, and we just do not realize that on a conscious level. So, and the little you's been shaped by your experience in life, past circumstances, lessons you've learned, things you might be deeming mistakes you've made, but, situations from your past. And some think past lives. So if you are one person who thinks of that, then yes, it's been said that past lives, even though you don't remember them on a conscious level, they affect your subconscious, who you think you are. All right. So parents, caregivers, environment, teachers, siblings, friends, all these things that have shaped you, traumas that you've experienced, things that in society, maybe you were raised in a certain religion. And so, it could, there's labels, and norms that are part of these organized religions. So that's who you think you are, right? So culture. So if you were raised in a specific culture, there's, that's what America is, a melting pot. And so many different cultures, that people, that came from other countries, for example, people who have immigrated to the United States and brought the country cultures with them. So those are things that, we would deem that the little you is, that's who we think we are, right? So things that we've been exposed to in the media, shows we've watched, things we read, magazines, things that we look at as in society as what is beautiful or is cool, right? You want to be one of the cool kids, right? So anything that you gained love and acceptance for since birth, and this all makes up, all these things combined make up who we think we are the little you. But who you think you are is not the full picture. So you're just seeing a translation. It's like you yourself is this huge language that extends beyond infinity, but you're only seeing the words that you can translate, right? You can only see a very small portion of that, who you truly are. So, and actually, you were supposed to forget who you truly were. And that's just part of the incarnation into the human life experience. You're supposed to forget it and start from fresh. But, and I love this analogy. So the little you is really the size of the pinky finger of the big U. It's just like a little tippy top part of the pinky finger. But even if, and this is a good point, even if the little you is an amazing version of yourself and you're fulfilling your life's purpose in this life, you've discovered it and you're living it and you're serving in a very impactful and deep way, and it's filling your cup every single day, it's still a limitation of who you truly are. So what being authentic is to really tap into and find a way to understand how limitless you truly are, to create a bridge between big you and little you, and be able to access that limitless version of you, tapping into your infinite potential, really understanding that there is so much more to you than who you think you are. We are so much more powerful than we will ever give ourselves credit for. And that is what that is to me so important for people to know. And this awareness that of the power that we don't realize that we even have. And we look at other people and think, oh my gosh, they do it, but I could never do that. And we just completely dismiss what we are truly capable of. So I ask that 2022 be the year that you begin that journey to authenticity, that you truly understand that you are operating in this world as so little compared to what is available to you. And just to start to learn the tools in order to access that bigger you and to tap into that bigger you, that infinite possibility you, and to write down, understand your values, understand your desires, tap into those desires, know what that, the bigger you has these amazing dreams for you. And so tapping into that bigger you, you'll discover what those dreams are. You'll discover what it is, what's that contract that you made to come here to do. And it's first of all to get to know bigger you and what the power is that you really have and the time you're here. And then can you access and use that power? So it's discovering the big you and living from a place of truly knowing who you are. You are a cosmic, divine, infinite being. That is your true identity. And there's no limit to who you can become, what you can achieve, and what you can have during this lifetime, no matter how late it is, no matter how old you are. And the journey will feel so friggin' amazing. So no matter what you've been taught your whole life, no matter what society has kind of like how society has limited you in a way, whether it's culture or, all these experiences, we can only see what we can see and we can't see past it. So if we have no evidence, we're so quick to doubt everything, right? And so you, as a soul, as a infinite being, you are tapped into and connected to energies that contain infinite power and wisdom. Big you is connected to that all-knowing place, all that wisdom of eternity. So this is what is meant when you hear people say the universe is within you. It's like big you and the universe are BFFs. They're joined at the hip, and ultimately always trying to help the human you, the little you, guide you. So, and the higher self is wanting you to explore it, wanting you to unlearn the conditioning of the human life that you've been exposed to, and the fears and the limitations, with I can't do this because, and to stop putting those words in your head, because what happens when you put those words in your head is that you're going to attract those limitations into your life. So, the first step is just understanding that there is a big you. The big you is all knowing, and the little you is just simply human and is filled with these limitations and society's expectations of what they should be. And it's breaking out of that and just being a open channel for more deeper learning and deeper understanding and curiosity, and just knowing, and most importantly, what it is that you desire and getting that down on paper and knowing that anything is possible, because the big you knows it. You wouldn't even dream it if it wasn't possible. When I heard that, I was like, that is, to me, the most exciting thing to know, is that big you wouldn't deliver us the idea in our head if it wasn't possible. And so just don't believe that it's not. So that's the biggest challenge for the little you, is to really accept the fact that all things are possible. And especially as I find you get older and you think, oh my gosh, well, why wouldn't it have happened sooner? Why wouldn't it happen sooner? I'm so old. Why is it taking so long? What is it about me that's taken so long, when it's like other people are more, figuring this stuff out earlier? And I did a visualization once. It was a couple of years ago now. And I saw my future self, and she was over 100, and she was very, very old and wrinkly, but very, very happy, very, very fulfilled. And I was told her that I was sorry that I hadn't found what my gifts were, that had taken me so long. And I had been in denial of what I was capable of, and in fear, and doing the things that society or, my parents said I needed to do because I would make more money. So I went after the money instead of the fulfillment. And so I was in this visualization, and I was apologizing to her for that. And it was so profound, because she responded to me and she said, "It's okay, Lori. You weren't meant to find it sooner." Because I was walking the path I was supposed to walk, and that I wouldn't be able to help the people that I help now if I had found it sooner. I would have been doing something completely different. And so don't ever think because you're a certain age that you're too late, or you missed the boat, or you're some sort of human, reject, or that takes forever to, or maybe will never find. The only way you'll never find your authentic self is if you don't go and look for her. if you deny her, if you decide that you want to step into your authentic self, you really want to get to know who that person is, you really want to know what your limitless possibilities are, and you're going to be brave about it, and you're going to just go for the adventure and the experience. And you're going to say, okay, maybe this thing is really, I mean, it's kind of sounds like a little magic and woo woo and hocus pocus, but what if it is? What if that's what the universe and your big you knows that. Your big you knows that. So just going on that adventure and allowing it to happen, and it'll lead you. It will lead you in the right place. It will lead you to where you are supposed to be going. And I never now regret or apologize or feel that it's too late. And I just know that I'm in the right place right now, and I'm continuing to be open and know that I'm directed, and I'm directed from, a higher self. And it feels great. It feels so amazing. So I love this concept of big you and little you. I hope it's been a good analogy for you to understand. And again, big you, the eternal you, the limitless you, and the little you, the human you, the one that is full of fear and limiting beliefs and I can't. So just starting with this awareness and making one of your 2022 goals, just wanting more of big you in your life, wanting more of that belief that all things are possible. And it'll be a 2022 to remember. I hope you've enjoyed this concept of big U and little u. I just know that it was really profound for me. Such a great analogy, which is why I wanted to share it with you. But again, it's like the big U is really the eternal you, the limitless you, the all-knowing you. And the human you is the little you, the human you that's filled with limitations, limiting beliefs, I can'ts, the things that keep us from living our full potential. And so I love this so much that I'm actually updating a module in my second half Spark School, and I'll be adding some lessons and going deeper on this subject. So, and really talking actually about too the science behind it, because there is some science behind it, which is really cool stuff. So the doors will be opening again to the second half Spark School on January 31st. So stay tuned if you want to get on the wait list. So you'll be hearing about, some trainings I'm doing coming up. Then you can sign up on the wait list. Go to secondhalfsparkedschool.com. It's all one word. Second is spelled out. And I'd love to see you in there. All right. Okay. Talk to you soon. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning into the Not Your Average Lives podcast. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe on iTunes if you have an Apple device. You can find free resources and learn what else I have going on at the moment that might interest you on my website at notyouraverage.grandma.com. You can also find me on Instagram or Facebook at Not Your Average Grandma. If you liked this episode, it would make my heart so happy if you could leave me a 5-star rating. You can also add a review to let me know what you like about this podcast, which will help spread the word about it to others who need a little midlife inspiration. As always, be you, listen to your inner voice, and focus on reigniting that lost spark so you can start living your own, not your average life.